Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Future Focused Admin podcast. I am your host, Candice Birmingham, and with me is the tech savvy assistant queen herself, Jessica McBride. Give it up in the back. We
Woo!
are on episode 9. Look at us, our second last episode for this series. And I know I say it every time, but I'm actually still shocked that we got here because this was like, should we do a podcast? And then, like, I just thought we'd quit halfway through and just be like, oh, that was
Well,
fun.
every Sunday I'm going, I hope she cancels. I hope maybe she'll cancel and then I won't have to do anything tonight after all because it's Sunday night and I just want to lay in bed and watch Mad Men.
But we do it because we've had such lovely reviews and comments, and I don't think people actually understand how much it actually means to us because we didn't expect people to jump on board with this. We just did it for us. We were like, yeah, it's something new, it's something different. Let's just see if it vibes with some people. And we just figured it would be the younger people that were just like, oh yeah, these people are a little bit saying it how it is, stepping outside the norm. But no, everyone's jumped on board and been like, yeah, this is fresh, this is new, this is a new way of explaining admin, and also just say, as I said, saying it how it is. I think a lot of people, as I said to you on the weekend, a lot of the podcasts that I have come across in the admin space is preachy preach, and it's very educational and it's very, you must do this, you must do that. Whereas our scope from the beginning was, let's keep it conversational. Let's just make it feel like you're sitting with two girlfriends having a wine and a coffee, and see how we go with from there. So thank you to everyone that's like not only just listened but like made the actual effort to tell us and say that it was good. It really, like, you know, lights us up inside when people say that they're enjoying it. So thank you. So we're going to talk about advocating for yourself as an admin today. I think this one's super important because I reckon from the stats that I've seen, um, admins are not good at advocating for themselves. They're very good at advocating for their bosses and getting results for their teams and getting results for everybody else, but they are not good at advocating for themselves. So I just want to, for people that are like, well, what do you mean by that? I think being able to advocate for yourself means you're able to represent your views and interests. So it doesn't have to be advocating for yourself in getting a salary rise or a job, new job or anything like that. It's actually just like representing your views and interests on everything. So if you feel that this is one that I felt was an injustice, was when admins didn't get bonuses, but everybody else did. And they kept using the excuse, oh, you're on a band, you're on a band. And I was just
Hmm.
like, nah, I'm not letting this go. And I know I signed on and I know I signed the contract that said I was on a band, but I just couldn't let it go. And that was advocating not only for myself, but for my profession. So it doesn't always have to be, it comes in all different forms. So, do you have an example of where you've had to self-advocate? I mean, you do daily
Yes.
because you have to self-advocate as a business owner, but in your
Uh,
career as an admin.
I think that I advocated for myself every time I said I'm not gonna put up with this shit anymore and like switch jobs because like I hit my breaking point where it was just like I have been advocating for myself because like I'm pretty quick to like speak up like if things are awry and I'm not really like happy in a situation. Um, it's why employers don't typically like employing me for very long periods of time is because I am the squeaky wheel. I am going to say like, hey, things could be done differently or better. And my last role, like in terms of like I advocated for myself with my ADHD where I said like, hey, I actually really cannot take feedback well if I'm just like met with it like on a Zoom call. I would really appreciate if I could get feedback in writing going in ahead of time because I don't being blindsided. And if I have time to prepare myself for a conversation, it's going to be a lot more effective of a conversation than just you coming in and being like, hey, by the way, you did this and it was terrible and I'm really mad at you.
Mhm.
So I need to be able to like think about it and sit with the idea of like what I did, like was I wrong? Like am I not every feedback is warrant or no, sorry, what is the saying about like not, don't take everybody's feedback into consideration basically, where it's like pick and
Yeah.
choose the people that you genuinely like think about the feedback from. So like consider the source, I guess. I'm trying to think how else I have advocated. I think I just had a big mouth and like I just
Well,
didn't want.
I
Go
think you've
ahead.
kind of hit one of the points there is identify what it is that you want and need and why. Like that's
Yeah.
a big part of it because if you're not clear on what it is that you're trying to identify and advocate for, you, and this is why I always say bring notes with you to meetings.
Oh,
Like I always say,
absolutely.
because you get you get flustered and you get and they might take, as you said, give you some bad feedback and you get like super focused on that and you lose your good points. You're just like, oh my god, why did they say that? Like why did she think that? Like I know I did, and then you start justifying yourself in your head and you've lost the whole meeting of what you were there for. So always,
Yeah.
my opinion, always have your notes with you so that you can always drive back into on schedule on what it was that you wanted to achieve out of that call or that meeting. Another thing I would say is make it relevant to your situation, or be it your job or your employer, like making sure that you can um, for example, if you want to go to a conference, like make sure that you've got like a business case letter. And
Hmm.
Admin Avenues, we have a business case template if anyone ever needs one. It can be for any event. Um, we also have it on the Admin Collective. If you wanted to be a member, a paid member, it's also a business case letter because it's like I'm showing you what the value is for the business for you to pay for me to go to this event or for me to join this membership group. So if anyone needs any tools like that, please always reach out. Happy to. And even if I don't have the tools, I'll find some tools for you. Um, but I would just say being able to show how this helps your job or helps the company also makes it much easier for you to advocate to say, no, I actually need to attend this because I need to network. I need to upgrade my skills. I don't know anything about AI and I need to learn what this is going to do. And this is admin specific AI course. So I would say, but just always make sure that you can fold back into to why it is that you want to do. And I would also say do your research. Like
Hmm.
if don't just say, "Oh, I heard Candace is attending an event and I want to go too." Like that they're just going to be like, "No." Just always make sure that you've got your research on the finances. Like, okay, it's actually going to cost this because I'm going to need to do an overnight stay. I'm going to need to catch a train. I'm going to have to like do a little business case for it. It shows that you care. It shows that you've done the research for it, and it shows that you can give an output of why that money was worthwhile investing in your career. I hope that makes sense. And also be prepared that you're not always going to get what you want.
No.
Like they're going to say no.
No.
It's and what you need to do is figure out whether or not you're going to allow that no to be okay. Because sometimes it is okay. Sometimes it's not relevant. It's not relevant, but it's not viable for that time. Doesn't mean you can't do it later. But for me, for things that for things that I find are an injustice, I just can't let it go. I'm just like, but why? But why can't I go? I've given you a business case of why this works. You give me a business case why it doesn't. You can't just say no to me. And that's just me as a person. I don't like being told no. I don't like being told no on anything. There's always a way around no.
Yeah, I won't take no without like a why. Like I need to know. This isn't a parent-child situation, and even like I don't parent that way. Like if I tell my child no, like I give them the reason behind it because like that is like the bare minimum that you owe somebody in that situation. And it just shows like a lack of like partnership for, your principal or the person you're supporting to just be like, no,
Yep.
straight no.
Yep. I yeah. I'm not good at receiving the word no. And that's just I don't know if that's from my career because my executives would never accept no, so I had to just always find a way, but I think I've just always been I'm also a fourth child, so I was always like, but why? But why? But why? um so I think also we should touch on the difference between good exposure and bad exposure.
Ooh, I
So
want to talk about this. Okay.
let's jump
Because
in.
I want to talk about the idea of non-promotable tasks because we get in a habit of saying yes, 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 yes to everything. And we think by doing that, it's going to escalate our career. It's going to take us places. And you need to be thinking about the projects that you are saying yes to. If you have
Hmm.
autonomy in your role and like your job is not on the line, if you said, no, I can't take that on, you really need to be thinking long and hard about the projects that you're taking on because taking on another CEO schedule is not going to give you exposure. It's not going to give you the like experience that you actually want in your career. But working with another part of your organization and saying, I'm going to help in product management and I'm going to learn, something about product management, or I'm going to take on something in HR so that I can then use those HR skills to like change my career. Those are good ideas of promotable tasks. And you need to be like assessing the idea of like, is this worth my energy? What is the payoff of this? And how is it going to affect me in the long run? I
Could
think
not
there's a
agree
book.
more. Um, also, a thing I would say with that is if you don't feel, I don't want to say the word strong enough, if you don't feel something other than strong enough, find a mentor. Find
Hmm.
someone that you feel has been able to achieve greater things in their career and go to them and say, hey, I want to upgrade my career. I want to, move jobs. I want to ask for a salary rise. Can you help me? Can you help prep me? Can you do some practice with me? I don't know anyone that would say no. Like, of
Hmm.
course, another admin is going to want to help you, or even not even just an admin, anyone. Someone's going to want to help you because we're decent human beings. Like we want people to succeed. But I would just say if you struggle to find your voice, if you struggle to find the words and things like that, find someone that can help you with it. Um, and if you don't want someone in your inner sanctum, get a coach. There's so many amazing EA coaches out there that would be willing to help you through this. But don't sit and suffer silently and go, oh, okay, well, I'll just accept that my career won't grow because I just don't have the I don't know, the fire in me to be able to do it. It's not even the fire. I can't. I've got no words today. This is my Monday morning fog. um, my other point to that is join admin communities. Like,
Hmm.
if you, that's the best place to vocalize. Hey, everyone, and you can do it anonymously if you do it through like Facebook and things like that. You can say, hey, I'm struggling with this, blah, blah, blah. I mean, probably every admin group there is, not really, but it feels like it. And the amount of people that jump in when someone needs help is just heartwarming and speaks volumes of this profession where everyone's just like, yep, here's an example, or here's what I used, or this is what helped me. So I would say find someone who can help you, join admin communities and online groups, like the Ant Collective as well. Like we are open. We do have paid premium, which you get all the masterclasses and everything like that. But we also have a free group as well, where it's a circle platform. You can ask questions. You can send funny memes. You can do all sorts of things. I just said memes. My nephew
I was
scolded
like,
me
maybe
for
that's an
saying that.
Australian thing.
He's like memes, memes. I'm like, oh gosh, gosh, shut up! I'm trying to be cool. um, and then I've written a note here saying backing up your requests.
Hmm.
I don't know
Hmm.
what I meant by that, but I feel like that might have been the me saying, like, don't accept no. I feel like that might have been like when they say, oh, maybe later or maybe after mid year, or make sure that you put a diary note in and say, hey, hi, it's mid year.
Yeah.
I'd like
Don't
to
drop it.
revert back to my request for X training or X membership or whatever else. But no one's sitting in a room going, how can I help Candace's profession?
Nope.
Nobody. Nobody's
Nobody else
doing
is
that. So
caring about your career the way that you are going to need to care about your career if you wanted to go somewhere. Um,
exactly.
I mean, I think we
And
talked
if
about this
you
maybe in the strategic business partner episode where it's like
yeah,
you need to be like seeking out these opportunities. They're not going to just like magically fall into your lap and find you. So make sure that you are making allies within the organization and you're talking to people. because that's going to be how we kind of back to the admin collective and the idea of like, these different admin organizations is you sometimes don't know how to advocate yourself for yourself until you see somebody else do it. And I think
Hmm.
that makes a big difference is so many of us work in these like siloed, organizations and we don't really have anybody to compare it to. And it's very interesting to see the range of treatment across the board for admins. So it's very eye opening, and it's good to get an idea of like what isn't okay out there.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then I just wanted to plug the book really quickly that I think that people should read. It's called The No Club: Putting a Stop to Women's Dead End Work, and it is by Linda Babcock, Brenda Pazer. I am not even going to try and pronounce these names actually,
We'll
but look
put
it
it
up.
in the show notes.
We'll put it in the show notes. I'm sure they're wonderful authors. But yeah, so if you are someone who's like, I don't even know how to start saying no, I don't know how to advocate for myself, protect my time, protect my energy. I think that is a great book to kind of get started of like, oh, I can say no to things.
Yep. That's a great tip. Um, I was trying to think of another book that I was reading recently where I was like, oh, this is good. And it was about, um, oh God, I'll have to find it. About, gosh, it's going to annoy me now. She was the EA to Steve Jobs.
Oh,
And yeah, and it was basically about taking care of yourself. And let's face it, like that guy had all the money in the world and could not save himself. Like if you don't take care of yourself, I know he couldn't help it, cancer, you can't help it. If you don't take care of yourself, you got nothing. Health is wealth. You know, he died with billions in the bank. It did nothing. Like you got to take care of yourself both mentally and physically. And this is another reason I know I say it pretty much every second episode is this is why I just really want to get it out there how good admin departments are. Like, if you can get to a point where you can get an admin department, so you have your own cost center, you have your own budgets, you have your own L&D budget, you have your own budget bonus budget, then you're not having to have these conversations and be like, please, sir, I want more. Like it's set there. It's like, yes, this is part of your numeration, or this is if the company did well, this is what you get for it. You're not part of the marketing team. You're not part of the finance team. You're part of the admin team, and you have a budget for your team. I, I just, yeah, I wish I could get that through to so many more admins to even just raise it, ask the question, go to HR. I don't know. I don't even think it's called HR anymore. It's learning and development or people and culture. I don't know what it's called in there. But oops, I just kicked over a whiteboard. Um, but go and ask, hey, what would it look like if we were to set up an admin department? I know we've talked about this on a different episode, so I'm not going to talk about it here. But just raise the topic and say, what would it look like if we had our own L&D budget, our own bonus budget, our own all of it, everything as an admin department. So you could see all the salaries. You could see that making sure that everyone is moving up in their salaries. Gender as well, seeing like, hey, we don't have any men in our team. You know, could we look at the next round of hires? Could we get someone of diversity? Could we get someone different in the team? Like without having this scope and this visibility on your department, how are you going to know? How are you going to do better with it? Because you're always just part of something else. You're never your own. And I know that it's not possible for some people. I know governments don't do that. I know, but if you can, why not? Try it, raise it, do
yeah.
it.
If you have more, several admins in your organization, there's strength in numbers. You have bargaining, collective bargaining, where it's like, we want to form an admin, organization. We want to be able to have these benefits that other people in the company have been getting. Like I remember when I was doing like sales admin stuff, like how insulting it was when like they would reward the sales team and like I wasn't included. And it's like I've just been working 60-hour weeks to make sure that you guys close all your commissions. Um, Maybe a little
It,
respect would
it,
be nice.
it killed me. It killed me. I think I said this in another episode. I was asked to do the bonus letters for everyone in my team, and I didn't get one. And I was like, do you really think this is cool that I have to do these letters and see that everyone else is getting a fat check? for Christmas and I get nothing, yet I've supported all of you. I am the reason why you were able to do your jobs. And it just, oh, it killed me. Um, anyway, I digress. Another one I want to say is, and again, this is, depends on where you're at in your life. Like, obviously people with kids, it's a lot harder and you don't have as much spare time. But if you have an opportunity to volunteer, jump on board. If you can volunteer in organizational things where you can get visibility. So if you join the, I don't know, social club and you're on it and the head of HR is on it, you're going to develop that relationship where you can have those easier conversations with them because you know them. You're both in this committee. Um, Another kind of example of that is if you are in an admin group. So, for instance, like in Australia, we've got Sydney admins and Western Sydney admins that I'm part of. Anyone can host an event. Anyone can put their hand up and say, "Hey, I went to this awesome restaurant. I spoke to the restaurant, and they want to host a dinner to showcase their restaurant to the admins, so that you book it, and so that they they do well out of it too." And the amount of people that I'm just like, if you want to do this, put your hand up. It doesn't don't always wait for someone else to do it. Put your hand up and say, "Hey, I want to run that. I want to do an event. I want to run a masterclass. I want to be on a podcast." But no one's going to do it for you. Don't sit
Mhm.
silently. I think that's such an important part of it. It's kind of like my dating life. I sit at home waiting for my husband to find me. Apparently, you have to like go out and like socialize and stuff. Weird,
I'll
weird.
just,
It's so
I would,
1990.
I would just die alone in that case. Go back out there fishing in the sewer? Absolutely not.
And then also we have to think about the people who are what's the word? When they're like this, when they don't like going out and whatnot. Wow, I
Introverted.
am not doing it. Introverted. I am not doing well with my words today. So if you're introverted and you struggle in being in social situations, you're not alone. There's so many
Nope.
people that are in this boat. Leverage your social media. You can do it from behind a screen, but you can still be joining conversations or joining groups, but you can choose when it works for you. Tap in, tap out when it works for you. So, you know, if you're on Instagram or you're on Facebook or any of the groups that you can do it, jump in and say, "Hey, I've got an idea for this," or I use this, or you'd be surprised how much your experience, your value can bring to somebody else. So don't be afraid. Like someone said to us once, what do you suggest that introverts do at networking events because they don't know how to network? And I said, find someone that you know is good at it. So if you, for instance, if you're at an event in Sydney, find me. Just be like, "Hey, um, I know who you are, and I want to say hello. And I'm really not good at this. Like, I'm trying to network. I'm trying to like meet some people. Would you mind if I kind of hang with you?" I would love that. I would love to help you, and I will do my best to introduce you to 10, minimum 10 people, because chances are I will know 10 people there, and I will introduce you with them, and you will not be standing alone. So find those people. Find those people that or find the other, who was it? Mina and Adele from Sorelli Consultants in Melbourne. I said to them, "How did you ladies meet?" And they met at a conference because they were both kind of standing alone and being like, "I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know anyone." And they just kind of gravitated towards each other and now have a business together. Like,
Mhm.
there's opportunity out there everywhere. And also, I know I'm very woo woo like this, but I do believe the universe puts you in places where you're meant to be at those times as well. So, um, another one I would say is make sure that if you are meeting people and whatnot, uh, is make sure you have like a QR code of your LinkedIn. Like,
Yeah.
it's so much easier to just have that up and just be like, "Here you go, connect with me here," than being like trying to scroll it, trying to find it. You each trying to, and someone might be having to leave, their Uber arrives. If you just have it ready, like for the ones on YouTube, you can see that. I've got a QR code on the back of my phone.
No,
I can
very
just,
cool.
bam, there you go, connect with me. And, yes, I'm terrible at getting back to people, but I do actually get back to people, and I do always make sure every now and then when I've got chance, I'll go through my inbox and be like, oh my God, so sorry that I've missed you. But yes, I remember who you are. And yes, I know I said you that I'd send you that. So here you go. It does take me a bit, but I get there. Another one I would say is toot your own horn.
Yeah.
Nobody else is going to sing your praises. Well, that's not true, actually. There are some people that are so nice that will speak your name in a room, and they're your people. They're the ones that you want. But if you don't take those moments to be like, actually, I achieved this, or I built this, or I did this, no one else is going to do it for you. And if you can't verbalize that, put it in a book. Put your achievements in a
Yeah.
book. So
Yeah.
when it
Keep a
comes
file on
review
your
time,
desktop of like, these are the wins that I've had, which is a great way to advocate for yourself, is when it comes time to say, I want this promotion. I want to take this work on. Here is my track record of other things that I've done and I've successfully managed. So make sure that you give me a little win file, make a little Excel spreadsheet, and just kind of record nice things people said, work that you did well, successful projects. Keep all of that handy. And also when you're sad, you can look at it.
I was just about to say that. Some days when you just feel like you add no value, and that happens. Like, just some days you just don't feel like you're achieving anything. When you have that little, whatever it is, book file, whatever, and you look back and you're able to see how much you have achieved and how grateful people are for the things that you've done for them. And they can be the smallest things to you, but it meant everything to them. Like you taking just something like, hey, I'll book that, and just taking that one task off them, just relieve them just that little bit. And they send you a note saying, thank you so much. And you're like, whatever, I just booked a restaurant. But to them, like, you just took such a big task off them. Because for us, booking a restaurant, and we've been through this about, and I don't want to get on this topic again because Jessica absolutely smashed some guy that wrote an article that was like, oh, you just actually, let's give that example. Let's give the example about if you're just asked to book a restaurant and what's involved with that if you're an executive assistant.
Oh, you want me to answer?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Just for fun, and just for anyone that may realize, not think that just doing that, and anyone that can't see me, it's inverted commas of the uh just doing that. So to give that example that you shot that guy down with.
oh yeah, because like he had made the comment about like sometimes executive assistants save you time, other times they become your friend. Fuck off. Um, my point with the dinner reservation, for example, is Lisa, it's not that I pick up the phone and I'm gonna call to make this dinner reservation. It's that I know everything about you. I know that okay, so you're in LA and you're gonna need a restaurant with a parking lot. You're going to need a restaurant with a couple of different vegan options because the person that you're with is vegan. Also, you don't eat red meat, so we can't really do a steakhouse. You don't like loud restaurants, so I need to find something kind of quiet. So these are all the little like just things that quickly rapid fire through our brains of like, okay, how am I going to find this restaurant that is a good fit? Because we know how particular people can be, and we are skilled in like finding these restaurants and finding solutions and knowing the details about people that a lot of people in leadership don't have the EQ. They don't know people. They don't really know themselves. They probably don't spend a whole lot of time with like doing inner work. I just think that they truly have no idea because I just like it's no thoughts. No thoughts, just vibes.
But they're also very singular vision, like it's tunnel vision. It's what I need, it's what my outputs are, it's what my results are. Whereas when you're an executive assistant, you're looking at a whole scope. You're
Yeah.
looking at not only them, their team, their wife, their husband, their kids, making sure they're home to see their kid once a week, making sure that their calendar is clear for that weekend because their kids got the finals and whatnot, making sure that they've eaten that day. Like there's so many things that your brain goes like wide scope, whereas most executives are straight down the line of what are my priorities, and that's the difference, right? That's the value we bring is they may go for dinner with someone and they don't know that you've rang ahead and spoken to their EA and said, hey, do they have any dietary requirements? And that your executive said, like you said, book the steakhouse, and they're a vegan. Like, they don't know, but you thought to ring their EA and say, hey, is there anything I should know about your exec? Oh, actually, yeah, thank you for asking. He's a vegan. His driver will be driving him, so won't need parking. Like, all these things that is so natural to us. Even like when we book a meeting at an office, where we will talk to the other EA and say, hey, do you need parking? Do you
Yeah.
need this? Do you need that? Like, or if you're having a lunch, is there any dietary requirements? Like, all that stuff is normal to us. Of course, that's not normal to everybody else, but that's kind of one of the things that we bring to the table that you should self advocate for and say, hey, this is actually a skill. This is this is something that you don't need to think about because I think about this. These events that just go so smoothly, that's not an accident. Those
No.
exec dinners, those board dinners that are just like on the money, that was me. That was me. I did that.
Well, sure, you're familiar with the concept of emotional labor, right? Like it's a pretty hot topic in terms of like heterosexual marriages. That the wife typically does all the emotional labor, and that is everything that gets done in the background to make sure that your life continues to move smoothly. And people don't recognize it because they just take for granted, a lot of husbands will just take for granted that these things magically happen. The laundry magically gets done, the groceries magically show up. And I just feel like it's that same way for an executive assistant within an organization where it's like, I am doing so many layers of things and you only see the tip of the iceberg. Like, I it's really hard to like not get recognition for your work. And I think for I spent a long time like always saying I like working on things in the background. I like that feeling of like effortlessly and flawlessly like moving all the chess pieces around and like doing it really well. And then I kind of got more comfortable with my own success and my own skills and who I was. And I felt really limited by that, where it was just like kind of bitter, especially where it was just like I did this flawless event and like once again, like you're thanking the CEO, you're not thanking me, or like, you know, no one really recognizes like how much operations based work an executive assistant does. So like I remember like when I was like, hey, I'm doing chief of staff work, like this is chief of staff level work. And my HR person is like, yeah, that's chief of staff level work. And he's like, I just don't think you have the operations experience. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean by that? Like, you don't even have an operations person in place. And I'm handling the company organization, like operations right now. I have a background in operations. Like, how are you going to say that just because you don't see it as operations because I'm just magically keeping things going?
Yeah.
Um, it's, I think it's just a kind of a disrespect, and lack of understanding of what we do, at this
But
point in time.
I think that's just a general overview of this profession, and that's why you get stupid ass comments like that man saying, um, you know, your job's going to be made redundant because I can make a booking for a restaurant through AI now, and it's like, oh God, like if that's what you think of us, if that's what you think that we do, if that's what you think what we bring to these jobs, no wonder we're not getting the money we deserve. No
No.
wonder people don't respect what it is that we do and the value we bring to these roles. Like there's so much language, there's so much education needed to change in understanding what this profession is because we're still viewed as secretaries. So
Yep.
until you advocate for yourself and use your voice and say, hey, I'm not a secretary. I am an executive assistant, or I am an executive business partner, or whatever it is that your role is, or what you want it to be as well. Also, if you don't want to be an executive assistant or an admin assistant, advocate to change your title. If that matters to you and you think that that's going to matter for how you're respected, advocate to change. Advocate for change. There you go. Just leave it there. Advocate for change on anything. But if we don't continue to have these conversations and give these examples where we are not getting the recognition of what we do, and we don't we're all this not secret work in the background but wow, I am doing well today. Um,
It's just
Unseen
invisible
work in the
labor.
background. Yeah, it's just there's so much that people don't see that is done in this profession, and it's just like even like Rachel Bonetti had a post the other day that was talking about when she was an executive assistant, she had the bottom drawer, and it had spare birthday cards, a, a you know a shawl, a Panadol, or what do you call it over there? I nearly said heroin.
Just some casual heroin for those stressful days.
It's just I was thinking of heroin, which is a product here. Tylenol is what it is over there. But like all these things that people don't think, oh, that person thinks that that may happen in a meeting, or a board member may, they only like chocolate bickies or whatever else. The admin just thinks of this stuff and always has a little stash of everything. A little they always just there's so many things that they do that's just unseen. Then this is why we say the unsung heroes of this profession, because there's just so much that isn't seen of what you do. So please advocate for what you're worth. Advocate for your next steps. Advocate for the education that you deserve to upskill. And if you're not valued, look where else you could go.
Yeah, my
And
answer.
normally that's Jess's answer.
It's a
No,
job.
normally that's Jess's go-to, but I am pro this. If I think you have actually gone to bat and advocated for yourself and they have said no, find somewhere that will. Because and I know I've said this before, I've been really lucky with my career. I have always had, well, almost always had really good bosses that always advocated for me. They were like, I absolutely see the value in this, and yes. And when you find those executives to work with, and when you have those partnerships, it makes your career so much more fulfilling. If you're sitting in your job being like, I hate this, just know there's so many other jobs and people you could be working with that you can actually re-love your job again. Because most people that I talk to in admin love being an admin. Like we're very similar in what we're kind of personalities are. We're, people that love to give. We love people. We love to, help. Like there's very similar traits in all of us. Well, I will say there's a couple of ones that are like, no, I'm just here for the paycheck. But most admins love this career. So if you're not loving it, and I'm not saying go quickly, jump out of your job. And I always say, you know, everyone's situation is different. But if you're not happy, do look around. Why not? Like with Admin Avenue's platform, yes, it's a platform for community, but also we have a job board in there. Unfortunately, it's just for Australia at the moment, but there's jobs in there deliberately, so that if you're scrolling through and you're like, hey, might just have a little sneaky peek and see what jobs are out there. Why not? Always keep your resume up to date. Always look at the job market, even just for money. Look and see what other people are earning. Like there's salary guides, there's everything. Like just make sure you're advocating for your career, because nobody else is going to do it for you. Why do I always feel like I get on a soapbox at the end of these episodes? Please jump in, Jess.
I can't. Because like I said, quit the job. Find a new one. Always be looking. Keep your resume updated. Most of my jobs I've gotten by deciding to play on impulse. Like mostly because I was mad. Like I'm a rage quitter. I'm someone who's just like, you were mean to me today. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna apply for jobs. Um, Keep them on their toes all times.
I
That's all
love
I've got
that.
for y'all.
I love that. All right. Well, I think that's our kind of highlights of advocating for yourself. If there's something in there that helps you, awesome. If not, I hope you at least had a laugh with us today. But that's F9 wrapped up. And next episode is our last episode for season 1. And we are going to read out some of the horror stories that people have been sending in. Not even just horror stories, there's funny stories as well. Like what you have been asked to do in your admin role. So send it to us, either DM us, email us, everything. Any of the channels, we put all our information in the show notes, but please send us your stories because they are hilarious. And we're going to read some out when we have our next episode, our final episode. And then I think, we might just even have an episode down the track near Christmas. We'll do a Christmas special or something,
Ooh.
and we'll read some more just because some of them are around Christmas based. It's hilarious. Because that's when people feel like they can ask these ridiculous requests.
Yep.
But have a good day, everyone, or an evening, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us. We really do appreciate you tuning in, and we hope that you always have a laugh and, maybe get something out of it. But if not, at least you've had a good laugh with us.
Like and share the podcast, please. We'd love so much if you would give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and Apple Music, wherever you are listening to our podcast. And yeah,
And if
like I
you're on
said,
YouTube, say
we are
hello
on YouTube
too.
as well. Yeah.
Yep.
So
So we love hearing from you is our point. So please interact with us. Tell us what you want out of season 2. If you want a season 2, do you want a season 2?
I
Like,
do.
we're not going to do it if you don't want it. We might.
Yeah.
We might. We'll do what we want. So that's it from us. Have a wonderful day and evening. Chat to you all soon. Bye.
Cheers.